Boxing fans, get ready for a high-stakes showdown that could shake up the entire lightweight division. Devin Haney is stepping into the ring against Jose Ramirez on May 2 ending. But the real question is, will Haney even make it to his much-hyped rematch with Ryan Garcia? With Ramirez coming in hungry, motivated, and determined to take Haney down, this fight isn't just a tune-up, it's a war. And if Haney underestimates Ramirez, he could find himself on the wrong side of a brutal beatdown that changes the course of his career forever. We've seen how the boxing world reacts to back-to-back losses. 1 minute you're a star, the next you're forgotten. If Haney gets destroyed, will Ryan even want the rematch, or will he turn his attention to the man who took him down? And let's not forget the controversy that still lingers from Haney and Garcia's last fight. Fans are still debating whether Ryan's victory was legit or if there was something more sinister at play. Haney insists he was cheated, but if he falls to Ramirez, that argument loses steam fast. This fight is about proving he still belongs among boxing's elite. But if Ramirez dominates, Haney's stock plummets, and suddenly the boxing world isn't talking about Haney versus Garcia anymore, they're talking about Ramirez as the new name to watch. This is a career-defining moment for both fighters, and when that bell rings on May 2 everything will be on the line. Trainer Robert Garcia is confident that even if Devin Haney suffers a loss against Jose Ramirez on May 2 the highly anticipated rematch between Haney and Ryan Garcia can still take place in October. Despite Haney's upcoming challenge at the Fatal Fury event in Times Square, the drama surrounding his last fight with Ryan Garcia continues to be a major talking point among boxing fans. Their first bout on April 20th last year was nothing short of electrifying, filled with controversy and post-fight accusations, making it one of the most debated fights of recent times. Many believe that unresolved tensions and Haney's claim that Garcia was using performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs, have only fueled the demand for a second fight. Robert Garcia believes that because of this, even if Haney were to suffer a setback against Ramirez, the demand for the rematch wouldn't fade away. The storyline remains too compelling, and boxing fans love a rivalry filled with unfinished business. Robert Garcia is also extremely confident that Jose Ramirez is going to do whatever it takes to secure a win over Haney and make a major statement in the division. According to Garcia, training camp has been intense, and Ramirez is putting in the work to ensure that he is fully prepared for this opportunity. "We're training hard, and Jose is fully motivated. His only focus is to win, and I know he'll do whatever it takes," said Garcia. He emphasized that despite all the talks about Haney versus Ryan 2, Ramirez has no intention of being overlooked. While many are already discussing Haney's future plans, Garcia is reminding the boxing world that Haney still has a massive challenge ahead of him on May 2. If Ramirez comes in sharp and executes his game plan, he has the potential to shake up the entire landscape of the lightweight division. The fight isn't just about Haney's future, it's also a massive opportunity for Ramirez to prove that he belongs among the elite and deserves bigger fights. However, the rematch between Haney and Ryan Garcia may ultimately depend on how Haney performs against Ramirez. If Haney suffers a close decision loss, the narrative of his rivalry with Ryan Garcia will still hold weight, and fans may still demand a rematch. But if Haney is dominated or, worse, knocked out, the conversation will shift dramatically. A devastating loss to Ramirez would cast serious doubt on Haney's ability to compete at the highest level, and instead of an immediate rematch with Ryan, he may be forced to rebuild his career from the ground up. The sport of boxing is brutal, and a single bad night can change everything. Haney, who was once seen as an elite technician, would have to prove that he still belongs among the best before earning another big money fight. The stakes are incredibly high for Haney in this fight, and it's not just about his record, it's about his reputation. Many already question Haney's durability after his first clash with Ryan Garcia, where he was knocked down multiple times, and if Ramirez hands him another brutal defeat, the damage to his career could be permanent. Fans might begin to view him as a fighter whose best days are already behind him, and the perception that Ryan Garcia ruined him would gain even more traction. In a sport where public perception can dictate future opportunities, Haney's performance on May 2 could be the deciding factor in whether he gets another chance at Ryan Garcia or finds himself pushed further away from the biggest fights. If Haney is victorious against Ramirez, the rematch with Ryan Garcia becomes even more intriguing, setting the stage for one of the biggest fights of the year. But if he loses badly, all eyes will be on what comes next. Will he demand a rematch against Ramirez to restore his credibility, or will he still push for the Ryan fight despite the setback? One thing is certain, May 2 is a make-or-break moment for Devin Haney, and the boxing world will be watching closely to see if he can survive this high-pressure test. If Haney does suffer a devastating loss to Ramirez, the ripple effect on his career could be massive. A fighter's marketability in boxing is heavily tied to their ability to win convincingly, and if Haney is stopped or clearly outclassed, his bargaining power for a Ryan Garcia rematch will take a major hit. While fans love a good rivalry, they also want to see fights that make sense, and a Haney coming off back-to-back losses, especially if they're brutal, might not be seen as worthy of another major payday. This would put Haney in a difficult position where he may have to take a step back, rebuild against lower-ranked opponents, and prove that he's still an elite fighter before even considering another high-profile bout. Meanwhile, if Ramirez pulls off an upset victory, his stock in the boxing world will skyrocket. Right now, he's seen as an underdog against Haney, but if he dominates or scores a knockout, it would put him in prime position for even bigger fights. Beating Haney would be a career-defining win, and it could potentially set him up for title shots, high-profile matchups, and a major payday in the future. It would also bring new energy to the division, as fresh names would emerge at the top, shaking up the current hierarchy. Ramirez isn't just fighting for a win, he's fighting for legitimacy, and a victory over Haney would force everyone to take him seriously as a top contender. For Ryan Garcia, the outcome of Haney versus Ramirez is crucial. If Haney wins, the rematch is an easy sell. Both fighters get to renew their rivalry, Haney gets a chance at revenge, and the controversy from their first fight ensures that fans will tune in. But if Haney loses, Ryan could find himself needing a new opponent. Would he still be interested in fighting a Haney coming off a loss, or would he shift his focus to Ramirez, who would then be the fighter with the momentum? Given Ryan's desire to face big names and make blockbuster fights, he might decide that a bout with a victorious Ramirez makes more sense. That could leave Haney on the outside looking in, forced to prove himself all over again. Another factor to consider is how Haney himself would respond to a loss. Some fighters are able to bounce back from adversity, using setbacks as motivation to improve. Others, however, struggle to recover mentally from crushing defeats. If Haney takes a bad loss against Ramirez, how will he handle it? Will he be able to refocus and rebuild, or will doubts creep in about whether he truly belongs at the top level? The mental aspect of boxing is just as important as the physical, and if Haney starts second-guessing himself or loses confidence in his abilities, it could spell disaster for his future. Ultimately, the May 2 fight between Haney and Ramirez is about far more than just a win or a loss. It's about the future of the lightweight division. If Haney wins, it sets up one of the biggest rematches in boxing against Ryan Garcia. But if he loses, the entire landscape changes, and new storylines emerge. Will Ramirez become the new star of the division? Will Haney be able to recover and work his way back to the top? And how will Ryan Garcia react to it all? One thing is certain, the stakes couldn't be higher, and the outcome of this fight will have lasting consequences for all three fighters involved.